All right. So I'm finna jump straight into the reaction, man. I know a lot of y'all probably done seen this sister. You know what I'm saying? She been going viral like crazy with the last couple of days. And I've been seeing different people get a perspective on it, you know what I'm saying? But I looked at it a lot different, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people have been taking the stance of these therapists need to be more professional and things along them lines. But I looked at it from a different angle, but let's get into it.
I am no longer seeing male clients because they'll come in my inbox demanding me to prove my worth to them. All up in my email saying, "What can you do for me?" Nothing. There's absolutely nothing that I can do for you. Go find somebody else. Go play with somebody else. I'm not the one or the two, baby. We ain't gonna do this. Not setting up no consultation or nothing to see if we're a good fit. Trying to see what type of treatment modalities I use, if we mesh well together. Just be in my inbox requiring this free emotional labor. Absolutely not. Because now I'm sitting up here making a TikTok about how y'all keep harming me. Because you're not helping me. I don't need to be working with you because you activated my nervous system. See, I already know that. And I know we're not going to do well together because we start working together. I'm still be thinking about that email you sent me when you tried me. And I'm going to want my lick back because I know who I am. And that ain't good. So I'm just not going to see y'all. Find somebody else to do it. Find somebody else to do it because I don't deserve that. I have been harmed enough for a lifetime. I don't need to be harmed by my clients either. That ain't fair. That ain't right. So I don't know what they finna do, but they ain't finna be seeing me. I am now only working with black women who are overcoming perfectionism. That's it. That's it. We ain't doing nothing else. And I ain't got to do nothing but stay black and...
All right, so we listened to what the sister had to say, man. You know, I
am no longer seeing...
I wanted to let everything get out, man, because honestly, from my first listen, you know what I'm saying, it sounded more like she done dealt with a lot of bad relationships, and it's like she taking her relationships into her profession. You know what I'm saying? Because my thought process is if somebody reaching out to you for counseling or therapy, how are they harming you by asking you questions about what services you provide? That didn't make a lot of sense to me. But let's go back through it. Then I'm gonna jump into some of the precepts that I got.
I am no longer seeing male clients because they'll come in my inbox demanding me to prove my worth to them. All up in my email saying, "What can you do for me?" Nothing.
Which sounded kind of crazy to me because my thought process is you should try to find the best therapist for you. So if as a therapist, wouldn't you or at least have your services listed so they can see, okay, this is something that I'm looking for. So why in your mind as a therapist, it don't make sense for somebody to ask you what services you provide? Now, one, for somebody to be DMing you about your profession, it's kind of like, I don't even understand why you allowing that in the first place. That's kind of crazy. But I just thought that was kind of weird for a sister to not be cool with somebody asking her about her services. But let's continue.
There's absolutely nothing that I can do for you. Go find somebody else. Go play with somebody else. I'm not the one or the two, baby. We ain't gonna do this. Not setting up no consultation or nothing to see if we're a good fit. Trying to see what type of treatment modalities I use, if we mesh well together. Just be in my inbox requiring this free emotional labor.
I don't understand it. And this has been my problem a lot with just black owned business in general. Customer service is horrible among black people. It's like we want to support each other, but the customer service is trash. Like I truly do not understand why black people, they start businesses and the people that you want to come spend money with you, you treat them like shit. I don't understand that. I do not understand that. Because in most places, you would think that you would get a free consultation, you know what I'm saying, just to feel the person out. But let's be honest. You don't vibe well with everybody. So if I'm in need of therapy, if I'm in need of a counselor, why wouldn't I try to figure out if you're a good match for me? Like she sound like this is some relationship stuff. This don't sound like a therapist. This don't sound like somebody that's into trying to, you know what I'm saying, help somebody with their mental health. It just don't sound like that to me. I could be wrong, but hey, This sister sounds jaded, man. She sound like she done got a lot of dudes to mess her over, man. It is what it is.
Absolutely not. Because now I'm sitting up here making a TikTok about how y'all keep harming me. Because you not helping me.
I don't want to put this. Words mean things, right? And this one thing that kind of bothered me about how people just loosely just throw stuff out there. When I hear somebody say somebody harming me, most of the time I'm thinking about physical. You know what I'm saying? Somebody did something to you where it's inflicting some type of pain. Somebody asking you questions about your business or what services you provide, it's not causing you harm. If it is causing you harm, you probably shouldn't be a therapist. You probably need to make sure you get your mind right first before you go into this line of occupation. Because this don't make sense. For you to be harmed from somebody asking you questions about what you do, don't make a lot of sense. And it's frustrating to me because, especially with black men, you know, I'm just looking at it from our perspective. It's easy to just throw a black man under the bus. It's trigger words when it comes to us. You know what I'm saying? Assault, harm, abuse, domestic. You start getting into any of those bags, you automatically thinking this black man is just out of control. He willing to beat on somebody. So to use the word harm in a situation where somebody trying to look for a consultation or try to, you know what I'm saying, at least feel you out, make you sound kind of crazy. And as a therapist, I would think that you would know better than that. But let's continue.
I don't need to be working with you because you activated my nervous system. See, I already know that. And I know we're not going to do well together because we start working together. I'm still be thinking about that email you sent me when you tried me. And I'm going to want my lick back because I know who I am.
Shouldn't you have worked on that before you became a therapist? That would be my thought process. But the scriptures tell you not to do that. The scriptures tell you not to go back and forth with each other like that. Don't be going tit for tat. So as a therapist, that don't make sense to me that you would go back and forth with somebody who's looking for therapy and you're supposed to be the one helping in that situation. It make you look very immature.
And that ain't good. So I'm just not going to see y'all. Find somebody else to do it. Find somebody else to do it because I don't deserve that.
And when she said this is when my mind really got to moving because I started thinking about the scriptures, right? Men ain't supposed to be going to women as therapists in the first place. We shouldn't be looking to women as our counselors anyway. You got to really think about the mindset because women don't respect when they have to lean on us for that type of support because that's not what they were sent here to do. They wasn't sent here to make sure we stayed in line. We were sent here to make sure they stayed in line. So we got to come back to our culture, man. We got to come back and do things how we supposed to be doing it, man. I'm finna go in the scriptures and touch on what I'm talking about. I'm gonna start it right here. This is Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 1. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water, because the men are the ones that's supposed to feed the nation at the end of the day. So one of the key pieces of feeding the nation is counsel. One of the key pieces of feeding the nation is counseling, therapy, making sure people's minds stay on the straight and narrow. So if we as men got to keep on going back to the sisters for therapy, we out of order. And the reason why you go into a female therapist is because ain't many men available. Why? Because the men aren't building themselves up to be able to give that counsel. Verse 2. So these are the things that God said he took away from us because of our sin. Verse 2. The mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50 and the honorable man, and the counselor and the cunning artificer and the eloquent orator. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them, because these the men that were supposed to be set over the nation to make sure everything ran properly. I'm going to read from verse 2 again. The mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50 and the honorable man and the counselor. This is one of the verses that I wanted because our men were set up we were supposed to be counselors. So when you got a situation like this, right, we see this sister, she out of order, clearly. We can see that, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, you way outside of your profession. I know as a professional therapist, you shouldn't be online saying stuff like this. Even if that's how you felt, you should just go about your business and just don't accept no male clients. That's very simple, very plain. As the scriptures say, be discreet. You shouldn't be putting yourself out there like that. But it is what it is. But the scriptures talk about these men was taken away from us. The counselors of our nation, these black men, they got to stand back up and be counselors again. That's the problem. We need brothers to be counselors. It is what it is. Let's get some more, because these brothers got to wake up. These brothers got to wake up. And I know most of the time when we talking this type of talk, a lot of the men don't want to hear this. A lot of the men don't want to put the work in, put the studying in, go through the experiences that make you a good counselor. It is what it is. Let's be honest. Most brothers my age and younger, they ain't trying to do no studying. They ain't trying to do much internal work to make sure you good in an area where you can help somebody else with their mentals. This is Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. Because these same brothers, these counselors, right, these mighty men, the judges, the prophets, these brothers are asleep right now. So we need these brothers to wake back up at the end of the day, because we see you can't go into Esau's system and find no therapist, because she went to school, most likely. She probably got her certification. She probably got all of that, and she became a therapist. And you see the mindset that the sister rolling in. She still act like a ratchet chick, even though she a therapist. You would think that you would move with a little bit more tact than that, move with a little bit more prudence than that. But hey, it is what it is. The sister's showing her true colors, and the brother should believe it at the end of the day. The brother should believe it. It's time for y'all brothers to wake back up, man. Y'all better be in place for these young men. When they need counsel, they can come to you. Because if they go into sisters like this, they're going to get destroyed. It is what it is. This is Ecclesiastes, also called Sirach, chapter 25, and I'm going to start at verse 3. If thou hast gathered nothing in thy youth, how canst thou find anything in thine age? Because that's the point that I was making earlier about brothers my age and younger. They ain't really sitting around trying to study no Bible and trying to learn different techniques on how to win a brother over, or what's the best modes of operation in terms of helping people through their problems. One, brothers ain't got the patience. Two, brothers ain't really had the life experiences to actually give counsel. So I'm gonna read it again, verse 3. If thou hast gathered nothing in thy youth, how canst thou find anything in thine age? Because that's when we see these situations where we talk about people being stuck in their ways. When you was young, you moved a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, if you continue on in your evil, you're going to start hardening in that evil. You're not going to be able to change out of the evil. So you got to start learning how to move early on when you in your youth. Verse 4, how comely a thing is judgment for gray hairs, and for ancient men to know counsel. Because let's keep it a stack. It ain't many older brothers right now that can really give these men counsel. I know me. It's very select few older men that I can look up to and be like, okay, I can learn something from this brother. Because a lot of times, especially after learning the scriptures, I can look at a lot of old men and be like, okay, he don't have no understanding. Because I can examine you according to the scripture and be like, okay, nah, he's not there. He's not where he's supposed to be. And it's sad to say that, you know what I'm saying? I'd have been around some great men where I can see the difference between a 50-year-old, 60-year-old brother in the scriptures versus a 50 or 60-year-old that ain't really been doing none of that. I can see that. So a lot of times I can see that a lot of these older men don't know counsel. Let me read it again, verse 4. Oh, how comely a thing is judgment for gray hairs, and for ancient men to know counsel. Oh, how comely is the wisdom of old men, and understanding and counsel to men of honor. This is some beautiful stuff, because these are the men that we're supposed to be able to go to when we have those type of issues. Now, I think this is one of the reasons why therapy wasn't really that big of a deal back in the day, because you can really go to your grandmother, your grandfather, and get that counsel that you're looking for. They can give it to you straight. Look, you need to do this like this. I understand you feel like this, but you was wrong in this situation. You need to move like this. I think that's the reason why a lot of brothers is messed up today. We don't have those old school grandmothers and grandfathers no more. We don't have mothers and fathers that really sit there and give counsel. We don't. It is what it is. Let me read it again. Verse 5. Oh, how comely is the wisdom of old men, and understanding and counsel to men of honor. Much experience is the crown of old men, and the fear of God is their glory. And this is one of the points I was making earlier about going through the experiences that give you at least the base of giving counsel. Because let's just say, okay, this brother, he got an issue in his marriage, right? But if you're not married, if you don't know what it feel like to be married, how can you give somebody counsel on marriage? You can't. So having different experiences give you the understanding, the wisdom to deal with people in counsel. So if let's just look at them from this perspective, right? We got very low marriage rates in the black community, right? So most brothers, we can't really get no counsel about marriage from most of these men, because if most of the brothers ain't married or hasn't had a successful marriage, how can we go to them for counsel? That's some scary stuff. Let me read it again. Verse 6. Much experience is the crown of old men, because that's really what you go to them for counsel for. Because 9 times out of 10, whatever you need counsel with, whatever you coming to them for, most likely they went through what you went through. So they can give you the game and say, it's okay, I did it like this. You might not want to do it like that because I got messed up when I did that. Okay, well, when I did this, it went like this. So, okay, you might want to take it this way instead of that way, because this is what happened, right? But I had my homeboy, he did it the other way. It worked out fine for him. So you might want to try it that way. That's what the experiences is for. Because I don't know about y'all, I know me growing up, I used to listen to a lot of other people tell their situations and just, eavesdropping as a child, you know what I'm saying? I would hear the life, especially a lot of in my family, it's messed up from time to time, but I learned a lot just from listening to them. I'm not doing none of that shit y'all talking about. It don't work, obviously. So if that's the type of lifestyle that y'all living, I'm not living that. You experienced it for me, because I'm not doing that if it messed up your life like this. Let me read it again. Verse 6. Much experience is the crown of old men, and they experiences is what we should learn from. When you read, actually, let's get it right quick. I don't want to paraphrase it. This is Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. So these older generations, we supposed to be learning from them. So if they can sit down and give us counsel and actually tell us how their life went, we should be able to learn from that. A lot of people, they say experience is the best teacher. That's foolish. That's foolish. If you went through it and it didn't work, why should I go through it just to see if it worked? I need to learn from what you did and implement that into my life. Because they say, oh, everybody different. Yeah, but some things work the same. Just be honest. Some things gonna get you the same results. So if you can glean something from an older generation, they experience, you need to learn from that. Let me read it again. This is Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Because that's one of the main reasons brothers going to therapy in the first place. They losing hope. You feel like you need somebody to talk to, and when you go to a damn therapist, they coming at you like this sister. Sister crazy as hell. Going back, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 25 and verse 6. Much experience is the crown of old men, and the fear of God is their glory. Because you can see when brothers they lived a good life. You know what I'm saying? You can see the brothers that's been moving a certain way. They got a different aura about them. You know what I'm saying? They life turned out a lot differently when you start looking and examining their lifestyle. But a lot of times when we young, we literally just going off our looks at the end of the day. We ain't trying to really gain no understanding or really understand what's the best mode to get through life. Let's keep it real. We ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing here. It is what it is. We like having fun. We, as the saying is, young and dumb. But you shouldn't have to make a bunch of bad decisions just because you're young. We should be able to get some of this understanding from the older generations that went through that to start trying to save the younger generations from those pitfalls that clearly most people fall in. But it is what it is. Let's get some more. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 37 and verse. I'm gonna start at verse 7. Every counselor extolleth counsel, but there is some that counseleth for himself. Because when I listen to this sister, that's what I get from her. Right? She went into therapy. She went into wanting to be a therapist for herself. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? You hear this mental health thing going kind of crazy. It's like a fad right now. It's like a trend now for people that want to go to therapy. So I truly believe a lot more black people finna start going into this lane knowing that they not fit to do the damn job. It is what it is. Let me read it again. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 37, verse 7. Every counselor extolleth counsel, but there is some that counseleth for himself. And that's, to me, that's the dangers of going to therapy when you don't get a chance to actually vet your counselor. So she in a bag where she don't want people to ask her questions about her services. But I don't know you. I don't know if you even qualified to do the job. But looking at this video, you're not qualified to do the job. All counselors ain't good counselors. It is what it is. Just because you went to school or just because you got the certification don't mean that you got the mindset or the patience or the spirit to do the job. It is what it is. Verse 8, beware of a counselor and know before what need he had, for he will counsel for himself, lest he cast the lot upon thee. That's the issue in this situation. That's the issue in this situation. Why don't this sister want you to be able to ask her questions? Black men, that's dead. You can't tell me black women ain't asking them same questions. You can't tell me that. As thorough as black women are, you can't tell me black women ain't asking this sister that question. Let me read it again. This is verse 8. Beware of a counselor and know before what need he had, for he will counsel for himself, lest he cast the lot upon thee. Because we saw this earlier with the sister Bree, right? You can see her bias coming out when she spoke on black men. Okay, so if you got a particular bias towards black men, what type of, how can I put this? What are you telling him in these settings to help him? If you already thinking that he the problem, how can you really unbiasedly give him counsel? It don't make sense. It don't make sense. Verse 8, beware of a counselor and know before what need he had, for he will counsel for himself, lest he cast a lot upon thee, and say unto thee, thy way is good, and afterward he stand on the other side to see what shall befall thee. And that's the scary part, because how you know somebody giving you counsel that's any good? You know what I'm saying? Somebody could be giving you counsel just to see what happened to you. So if you already got a bias and you already don't like, you know what I'm saying, a particular subgroup of people, you can be giving them bad advice, bad counsel, just to see what happened to them. That's crazy. Then you sitting up telling people like, look, man, my therapist told me to do that. Everybody looking at you like, man, your therapist ain't told you to do that. Now you sitting there looking crazy. Don't get into that bag. This is why the men got to stand back up and stand in the gap for these young men that's coming up, because I'm gonna make sure I'm in a mode where I can teach these young men something. I'm gonna make sure I'm in a position where if they need me, they can call me. They can call me, hey, what you think about this? Hey, okay, this is what's going on in my life right now. What you think? How you think I should move in this situation? That's what these black men got to get to, because we can't rely on these sisters. We supposed to be standing in the gap for them, and we going to them for therapy. It's backwards, man. It is what it is. Verse 9, and say unto thee, thy way is good, and afterward he stand on the other side to see what shall befall thee. Consult not with one that suspected thee, and hide thy counsel from such as envy thee, because this is a big problem. This one of them things too, where people have issues with they so-called friends. Let me read it again. Verse 10. Consult not with one that suspected thee, and hide thy counsel from such as envy thee, because if somebody already think that you bad, like that you a bad person or you the issue, they gonna always have a skewed view of what you're saying. They gonna whatever situation and whatever Whatever scenario that you're giving them or presenting to them, they're going to see it with messed up glasses on. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to see it for what it truly is. They looking at it for what they can pull out of it to say it was your fault. Let me read it again. Verse 10. Consult not with one that suspected thee, and hide thy counsel from such as envy thee. Because if somebody envy you, let's keep it a stack. You shouldn't be going to them for counsel at all. Because obviously if they want your life, right? Why would they try to mess your life up? Because let's keep it a stack. In the black community, most people don't want other people to do better than them. So if you in a better place for the moment than your friend and they got a little bit of jealousy, you shouldn't be telling them anything. You shouldn't be telling them nothing about what's going on in your life. Because any advice that you're going to get from them is going to destroy you. It is what it is. We see this all the time, especially the brother Kevin Samuels said all the time. He said single women keep women single. Because as soon as a sister find a man that she like, what they do? Anything that pop up in that situation, they tell that sister to leave instead of telling the sister to work on it. You know what I'm saying? Fix the situation. We see that all the time. Verse 11. Neither consult with a woman touching her of whom she is jealous, neither with a coward in matters of war, nor with a merchant concerning exchange, nor with a buyer of selling, nor with an envious man of thankfulness, nor with unmerciful man touching kindness, nor with the slothful for any work, nor with an hireling for a year of finishing work, nor with an idle servant of much business. Hearken not unto these in any matter of counsel. So obviously, the Most High giving us guidelines on who not to counsel with in certain situations. The first one he said is, don't consult with the woman touching her of whom she is jealous. We done seen this on countless occasions. You cannot do that. You can't do that. You done been talking to a sister and you asking her about another sister that she don't like. She ain't gonna tell you the truth about that sister. She gonna tell you exactly what she feel about the sister. Now you looking at the sister in a messed up way. We see that all the time. But I'm gonna jump. Verse 12. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. This, to me, is a profound verse when we talking about what we talking about. Because one of the main things that you need your therapist to do is be able to put themselves in your shoes. That's one of the main things. Somebody that's relatable, somebody that can see things from your point of view and give you counsel along the lines of at least the culture that you from. At least they can see things. Okay, when I was 20 years old, I can remember going through that. So they can better help you in those type of situations. Let me read it again. Verse 12. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord. And that's one of the main things, because one of the main reasons we can't talk to these older men is because they don't keep no law. They've been living their life lawless this whole time, and we can see the fruits of their behavior. We can see the fruits of why their life turned out the way it did. That's why we don't respect them now. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about all the older cats, because there's some OGs out here that we can really talk to and get some game from. But a lot of these dudes, they bogus. For real, for real. Let me read it again. But be continually with a godly man. Now, when you read the scriptures, a godly man is the one that's keeping the law. Somebody that's doing things according to how the Most High wanted to be done. I ain't talking about no Christianity church. I'm talking about Bible. Let me read it again. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind. Because if you talking to a counselor who don't really see things the way you see things, or don't have the same common goal, right? Because when I'm talking to anybody, especially of my own people, I want the best for them at the end of the day. Us as a race, I want us to dominate, me personally. So if, let's just say you go to a white therapist, right? His main, let's keep it a stack. Their main priority is to continue white supremacy. Why would I go to you for counsel? If we don't have the same goals in life, we don't have the same mindset, you can't go to them type of people for counsel. Let me read it again. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. Because a lot of people, when they come into different situations, right? A lot of the times, you just need somebody to be there when you're trying to vent or get these type of things off your chest. You need somebody that's gonna be there and understand where you're coming from and let you get that stuff off. Let me read it again. He said, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. We don't have that. A lot of times, especially I've seen a lot of young men say this. They say, why are you asking me about am I okay? If I'm not, what you gonna do about it? At the very least, I can let you get everything off your chest. At the very least. Like I really don't understand where these young men get this mindset from. But well, I can kind of imagine. You know what I'm saying? You've been let down your whole life by your people that's supposed to be the closest to you. But you know, it is what it is. Let me read it again. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. And let the counsel of thine own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. So a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, they get into these bags, right? Sometimes you got to follow your first mind. And that's what this talking about. So sometimes people could try to talk you out of doing something that you know is right. You shouldn't let nobody shake you off that square. You should know, if you know that what you're doing is right, you should move off of that. But at the end of the day, these black men gonna have to stand back up, man, because we don't need no more therapists like this sister right here. We done seen enough black female therapists that have a bias towards black men. Now, listen, we old enough to know, and we done seen enough where they talk about the gender war. We can see how a lot of these sisters feel about black men. If you know, what's the chances of you running into a black woman that don't feel like that? And just to make sure, you need to be able to vet the sister. So with the sister like this, she don't even want you to check and see if she ain't crazy. Don't do that. Don't do that. Y'all fellas, man, y'all be smart, man. Don't fall into these stupid setups. Don't do that. Let's continue.
I've been harmed enough for a lifetime. I don't need to be harmed by my clients either. That ain't fair. That ain't right. So I don't know what they finna do, but they ain't finna be seeing me. I am now only working with black women who are overcoming perfectionism. That's it.
I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that. Let's continue.
That's it. We ain't doing nothing else. And I ain't got to do nothing but stay black and...
So that's it, man. That's all I wanted to say about the sister, man. Like I really need you brothers, man, especially you older men, man. Y'all gotta be in place for these younger men, man. So I know from time to time, especially like now that I got all these kids, man, dealing with the wife, dealing with the kids, I be wanting to talk to my pops. Cause I know we wasn't super bad, but I can remember certain situations, how he handled it. And I be just wanting to pick his brain. I just be wanting to ask him like, okay, what made you move like this in this situation? Because I can see it in myself, like, I don't have no patience. So I can look back on my pops and see he had a lot more patience than I have right now. So we need you older men to really, you know what I'm saying, stand in the gap and be there for these younger men. And for these younger men, my age and younger, start learning, going through these experiences and learning from these experiences so you can help the next man. It is what it is. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. I'm out.